Okay, thank you for participating today. We are now joined by Quentin Grimes, and we will begin the press conference. Use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. I would ask that you limit it to a single question and then maybe a quick follow-up. We have a lot of people on here today. So when you are called for your question, please state your name and affiliation first. Our first question will be Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle.
Hey, Quentin, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Quentin, you describe, getting off to the start with losing Dejan. Looked like y'all had to make some adjustments. Maybe the shots weren't falling earlier. What you guys did after that to sort of get things going?
Yeah, everybody knows Dejan's our leader. He's our connector. He's our coach that's on the floor. And just when he came down, Jamal came in, gave us good minutes. We had to make some adjustments defensively. And then once we knew that he wasn't going to come back in the second half, we kind of got in our flow. We kind of knew what we were doing. We knew what we had to execute offensively and defensively. And I feel like we stuck to the new game plan, and we did really well.
Was there something early with maybe, I don't know if it's the backdrop or something that was a little bit tougher to get going? It looked like some of the shots weren't, they were kind of uncharacteristically off.
Yeah, the gym is pretty big, and that kind of threw me off at the beginning. I had to get used to it a little bit. So, yeah, I think that was why my shots were short a little bit.
Thanks.
Next question comes from Greg Bailey, ABC 13.
And Quentin, if you could, just what do you think you guys did so well to begin that second half, and how were you able to carry it through to really run away with this thing?
Yeah, Coach emphasized that the first 5 minutes of the second half were going to be the most important, and I feel like we came out, we played Cougar basketball, we got early stops, ran in transition, got the shots that we normally shoot and like to take. Marcus got going a little bit, T-Mark, I got going a little bit, and just kind of feeds out that. We feed off the bigs' energy, coming in, playing hard like that, getting offensive rebounds, and we just kind of played Cougar basketball in the second half.
If I could quickly check on you, it looked like you grabbed your back at one point but continued on. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I just kind of got banged up a little bit in the boards. I'm good, though.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Chris Baldwin of Paper City Magazine.
Hey, Quentin, you talked about the adjustments with Dejan, but how hard is it just to see him go out like that? And did you have a chance to talk to him and get a sense of how he's doing?
Yeah, it's tough just knowing how much he does for this team. Defensively, Defensive Player of the Year, rebound and assist, can get a bucket. I think he's doing pretty good right now. I know that. I think they just didn't want him to come back in and injure it even more. I think he's like stiff right now, but I think he's doing pretty good though.
Next question comes from Chris Gardner from the Houston Roundball Review.
Quentin, what did you guys say as players, teammates, say at halftime?
That we just need to just blow the lead up. Usually when teams get up like that, we know that we watch film on them. They were down a little bit at halftime, but they're a resilient team. We knew that we had to come out there and kind of hit them in the mouth first, and I feel like that's what we did. We got the lead, and we were able to kind of play Cougar basketball, which is defensively, getting stops and leading to easy buckets out there in transition.
Thanks.
Next question is from the Daily Cougar, Andy Yanez.
Quentin, how big of a role do you think that rebounding and defense did in this game, especially in the second half?
It set the tone. It set the tone for the second half. Coach emphasized that some people on the team didn't have any rebounds. He emphasized that we're not getting the right switches. That defensively, we had some mistakes that were on the scouting report. And I feel like once we kind of corrected those and people started getting locked in, really super locked in, that's when we kind of started to take off in the second half.
Okay, Mark Berman, KRIV. Did you have a question?
Can you hear me, Quentin?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, what does it tell you about your team? What does it mean that y'all can get it done basically without Dejan today?
Yeah, I think that was the first time all season where we didn't have him for the whole game. So it just showed like how many different weapons we have, from Jamal coming off the bench defensively, T-Mark can get a bucket whenever. Our bigs, our front line was amazing today. They really set the tone for us. They led by example and led by their communication too. So I feel like just showing that we kind of had a resiliency to still play how we usually play, even though Dejan went down. Everybody kind of stepped up and kind of took on a little bit more than they usually have. It showed that we kind of are a good fighting team. We can hold off people even when one man goes down.
What did Kelvin say to you guys after the game?
That he was proud of us. He was proud of us. He was proud of how hard we played in the second half. First half, we had some mishaps with the scouting report and everything, but in the second half, we were locked in, and that we played like I can't Cougar basketball, really.
Thanks.
Thank you, Quentin, for your time, and best of luck in the next round. We will be joined momentarily by Coach Sampson. And again, you can use this time to raise your hand if necessary to speak to Kelvin. And again, you can text me at 812-322-1437 if you need to give me either your name or the affiliation that you're at, and I can add it here if you can't do it yourself. 812-322-1437. Thank you. We will now begin with an opening statement from Coach Sampson and then go to questions. I ask that you use the raise hand function to indicate you would like to ask a question. And when you are called upon for that question, please state your name and affiliation. Coach, if you can give us a brief opening statement, then we'll go ahead and go to questions.
Okay. I think our kids were a little bit nervy, maybe staggered even when Dejan Giroux went down. He's not only our starting point guard, but he's also our leader, emotional leader, leader on the floor. Does a lot of things for this team, and he was tremendous over on the sideline in support of his teammates. But Marcus and Quentin have been the recipient of a lot of Dejan's assists, and all of a sudden now they became the primary ball handlers, and we had to, kind of switch midstream. We had to change some things up. I thought once we got to halftime, we came out a lot more organized. During the course of the game, first half, I just think I didn't feel like we were as organized as we need to be. But Tremont Mark getting 2 fouls went down. So we basically lost 2 starters. Dejan went down with an injury, and Tremont got the second foul so early. And then we're playing with guys that just, just hadn't played many minutes all year. But once we got to halftime, we said, okay, here's what we're going to do defensively. Here's what we're going to do offensively. But our 4 big guys, Bryson Gresham, Reggie Cheney, Fabian White, and Justin Gorham, I thought they did a great job of controlling the backboards. You can tell Coach Gates had really prepared his team well to block us out. They were blocking us out almost too good because they were fouling us a lot, and they kept putting us on the line. So even though we were missing in a lot of the balls that we would get offensive rebound, we were still maintaining possession because of fouls. But we were plus 14 on the boards tonight, 16 offensive rebounds. That's our identity. Quentin and Marcus started making some shots. So good win. This tournament's all about win in advance, and we're very fortunate and proud of my team for living to fight another day.
Thank you, Coach. A note to the meeting, we have a lot of people on here, so I'd like to limit it to one question to start. And if we still have time, we'll come back to you. Our first question is from Brian Smith of the Houston Chronicle.
Hey, Kelvin, you just mentioned the team really kicking in. You lose Giroux, but you end up, it's a 31-point win, and you had 6 players in double figures. What did you see from this team tonight to where you were able to rely on a lot of different guys to be able to get a 30-plus point win in the NCAA tournament?
Well, we talked a lot at halftime about getting to the third side. Teams that play on one side of the floor usually take the shots the defense wants you to take. If you can get to the second side and third side, you can spread them and gash them and then create shots. Second half, we were good at that. Quentin, Marcus, we were moving them around, and then we were hitting them with Fabian and Justin. When they went zone, they were sticking on our shooters, which allowed us to play down the middle. And when they went man-to-man, we got to the third side. But I just thought our ball movement was really good. You know, shot 53% from the field the second half, but that was because of the way we moved the ball. I just thought the ball started moving, and we get into the third side. But you're right, Brian. I mean, you said the key word, team. You know, Dejan arguably, not arguably, he's been our most valuable player. I think Quentin's been our best player, but our most valuable player in the last month for sure has been Dejan. So doing that without him, I think will give these kids some confidence going forward. But our team tonight was good. Everybody had a role to play, and I thought our kids did a great job of playing their role.
Next up, Chris Baldwin from Paper City.
Coach, after the game, Dejan still gathered the team around and was the one talking to them. What does that say about him? And and do you have a sense of how long he'll be out and what the status is?
I do know, Chris, that he has a hip pointer. You know, Dejan's not a real meaty guy anyway. He's kind of bony, so a hip pointer for him is going to be a little bit more severe than say me or you. But leadership, this team respects him so much. This is a very close-knit team, great kids. I love coaching this team. It's one of the great things about this tournament is that everybody's season is going to end here in a little while, whether it's this weekend, next weekend, or the following weekend. But it's going, you're not going to be able to do this much longer. But every day we get to go to practice is a blessing for me and our staff. But what you saw with Dejan tells you a little bit about the respect he has for his teammates and vice versa. Dejan has no ego, and I think that's one of the great attributes about this group is they don't really care much about who gets the glory, who scores the points. They've become a really good team, and that's why I enjoy being around them. It's a blessing for me just to be able to coach this group.
Next up is Joseph Duarte from the Houston Chronicle.
Kelvin, after Traymon got those 2 fouls in the first half, the bounce back that he had in the second half, playing in his first NCAA tournament, can you just kind of talk about what he was able to do there just to put that out of his mind?
Well, a lot of people haven't seen him play, so he's going to be a surprise to them. But we're fortunate that when Dejan went down, we had a guy that could go get us 15 points. We spent the whole halftime, at least I did when I went in to see the team. I was with the coaches, and we talked about some of the – I knew kind of what we needed to do as I was walking to the back. But part of what we needed to do, and our staff does a great job of this too, is we needed to get sometimes the easiest kids to motivate are the kids with the highest self-esteem. We need to get him going. He's a good player. So as soon as we started the second half, we started calling actions for him. We'd set him up on the right side so he could get back to his left hand. And if they try to cut him off, he's got a really good dribble. He's got a great pull-up game, but he also can get to the rim and finish. Now, he's not the shooter he's going to be. He doesn't shoot it like Marcus or Cam or Quentin, but he's going to be a good shooter. But remember, he's going to be a freshman next year. Marcus is going to be a sophomore next year. Jamal didn't look great tonight, but he's a really good player. We've got a lot of good young players on this team. And, when Dejan went down, we went from being a veteran team to a young team. And But Quentin played like Quentin the second half, Marcus. But the key was that Tremont played to his level, and he's a really good player.
Next question comes from Greg Bailey from ABC 13.
Kelvin, could I ask about the maybe the intensity and the scrap that your big men exhibited for you? It looked like they did it all night long for you.
No, I'm glad you said that, Greg, because that was we spent this week. I spent an inordinate amount of time in practice with those guys. J1 Roberts, Kieran Powell. Now, those two guys were guinea pigs a lot, and they got the crap beat out of them. But Justin, Fabian, Reggie, and Bryson, I just don't think we had much let up. And we've always had depth at our up front positions, going all the way back to Chris and Nurazana and Breon Brady at the 5, and then Devin Davis and Fabian. That's 5 really good players, and now we have 4. So actually, we're down 1. But J1's capable. He just, he dislocated his right thumb, so he's been out for a while. But tough. Still thought they were scrappy and tough. We knew that we have our kids convinced that we're not going to beat many teams with our first shot. So we have to be a second and third shot team. I think over time that wears teams down. It can be demoralizing, especially in the second half. But when we're offensive rebounding and getting out in transition with defensive rebounds, I think that's when we're at our best. And our bigs are obviously the catalyst for that.
Next question comes from Zach Osterman from the Indianapolis Star.
Calvin, sorry, forgive me, kind of offbeat, but just the last couple of days, just how strange has it been, just the way the building's changed, I guess, just kind of seeing what's different from so many years ago and maybe what isn't different when you talk to these guys about getting ready to play in this specific sort of arena with these shooting lines and the court set up the way it is and that sort of thing.
I think the biggest difference, Zach, is Cook Hall. Last time I was here, that was a chain link fence. Now it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful facility. As far as sight lines, I don't think we talked about that. We didn't talk about any of that. We just, we go into a lot of gyms over the course of a season, and our kids don't know any difference from one gym to the next. Whether we play here or at Purdue, it was for our freshmen. Every gym we go into is a new gym for them. So I don't think that mattered. But the renovation that they've done here, especially with Cook Hall, is beautiful.
Coach, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much. Good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's it for this postgame news conference. A transcript of the coach's interview will be provided by ASAP Sports and posted along with a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Hub at www.ncaa.veritone.com. Thank you once again for joining us.
Well, my hats off to Coach Sampson and the University of Houston. They did an unbelievable job. That's a 1 seed. I truly believe that team is a 1 seed. They can score the basketball in every which way possible. They score in 3 areas: on the free throw line, behind the three-point line, and in the paint. They do a great job defensively of not fouling. But, you know, the game came down to second chance points, which they scored 21 points off of. And then that run, we just couldn't stop their surge. So my hat's off to them. Our guys, we didn't play our very best, but that was because of the University of Houston. They put us in position where we were playing on our heels. But I'm proud of my guys. I'm proud of our guys, what special group we have at Cleveland State. These guys did some things that probably would never be done again after a pandemic, being able to win 2 championships, regular season conference championship and a conference tournament championship. So I'm extremely proud of my staff and as well as our institution for getting us to this point, and obviously the Horizon League.
Thank you very much, Coach. We'll now go to questions from the media. Please use the raise hand function to indicate that you would like to ask a question. And our first question is from Rob Fenders from Cleveland.com. Rob, go ahead.
Rob, you're on mute.
Yep, sorry. Hey, Coach, congrats on a great season. It's been a pleasure to follow you guys along this season. You know, just how tough was it for the offense to get going tonight against that Houston defense? You knew what they were coming in, but just how tough was it for your guys to really string together that momentum tonight?
It was difficult. I think the score shows that. I think they were able to get offensive rebounds, and that kept us from getting to our transition. And whenever you have a team that crashes 3-4 guys and you can't come up with the basketball, at that point you can't run in transition and soften up their defense in half court. But we played against 5 versus 5. They did a great job of putting us in a half court offense, but we couldn't kind of crack the paint. I thought their length bothered us as well, and their athleticism. This was a great team, man, and they protected the rim, as you can see with our points in the paint at 20. They did a great job. So defensively, it was one of the top defensive teams in the country.
Okay, our next question will come from Alec Quate. Alec, go ahead.
Coach, congrats on a historic season. I was just curious if you could talk a little bit about what you think the biggest keys to continued success are for you guys going into next season and beyond.
Well, we got to that's a good question. We got to continue to, we got to get better individually. I think when you look at the tenure here since August of 19, we hadn't had a summer workout and postseason workout because of pandemic and obviously me getting a job and taking over the program in August. So that's an integral part in development or developing a program. The other thing is we just got to continue to get better as a staff. I'll continue to do my job in pushing us forward, but I truly believe in professional development and student athlete development, and we'll make sure we continue to address those things. I'm very excited about our program. I'm excited about what we were able to do. We're not happy about the results of tonight and probably won't allow ourselves to really enjoy the season until probably the summer because it hurts. It hurts when you're true competitors and you don't have a result the way that you want. It's going to be difficult to see really the big picture of what we were able to accomplish. And we accomplished some great things when you peel back the layer of not satisfying what we wanted to happen. Like I said, our goal was to reach the national championship and be the #1 team in the country. And along the way, we bumped into a regular season Horizon League tournament and a Horizon League tournament championship, and we just didn't accomplish that goal tonight. Our season is over. We only have 40 minutes in this NCAA tournament, and we were looking forward to 240 minutes. So That part of it, we just got to continue to push forward, evaluate, and see where we are when we get down to getting better.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Again, if you have a question, please use this time to raise your hand to be recognized. We have a question from PJ Ziegler. PJ, go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, thanks, Dennis, for the time. Sometimes when you get to a tournament like this, you have to lose in order to learn how to win. What experience or what did you guys learn by this experience here in the NCAA tournament that you can now take with you as you start to build this program for bigger and better things?
Well, we know how to get here. We know what it takes. Our guys sacrificed a lot. I don't know if there will be another pandemic, but I thought our guys, with the obstacles and the circumstances, they did what they needed to do, because the number one opponent this season has been COVID-19. The second opponent has been Cleveland State University. The third opponent has been those that crossed the lines and us being in the game. But COVID-19, being able to navigate that effectively and a pandemic effectively, it allows our guys to really know the sacrifice it takes, the obstacles you have to overcome, but also the trust you have to have in one another. I thought we grew as a program since last March. Even though we were remote and on Zoom, we grew. And that opportunity to grow has to be preserved when you get to the level of normalcy, because at that point, you're going to be fighting, okay, peer pressure or going over. There's going to be other things to do other than locking in. So the distractions is what we have to continue to focus on, and we'll do our job as a staff to make sure we remain committed.
And what's the biggest thing that you'll take away from this 2021 or 2020-2021 season with Cleveland State?
The biggest thing is just learning how to get to a tournament. I mean, that's what it's about, man. Playing for a national championship. There's not a lot of teams that has been able to say that. The other thing is, when you look at where we are in the bubble, et cetera, there's not one team in our conference that wouldn't want to trade places with us. And the one thing you got to take away is we're thankful. We're thankful that we had a postseason. We're thankful to be a part of March Madness, because, again, just last year, 365 plus days ago, it was taken away from everyone. And we're thankful of our leadership at the NCAA. We're thankful for our resocialization committee to get this thing going, and obviously all those behind the scenes who were able to roll their sleeves up and get us into this space in Indianapolis, the city of Indianapolis, and get a tournament going. It's a beautiful thing, and obviously a lot of people are happy, but we're excited about being a participant in this March Madness.
Coach, thanks very much.
Yes, indeed.
Our next question will come from Bob McDonald with Horizon Roundtable.
Hey, Coach. Obviously not the result that you were looking for. Houston was definitely really aggressive on defense. Kind of to piggyback off on what Alec was asking, when you looked at that defense, are there any things that you saw from that particular defense that you could potentially carry forward into your own team in the future?
Well, I'll tell you this. I will be curious to watch the next 5 games that Houston will have. I truly believe this team can win a national championship that we just played. And at that point, in reflection, we'll begin to see, okay, that team is really good. I don't think they get the credit they deserve. I think they're a number 1 seed. Without a doubt, I said that all along. And the things that they were able to do, you cannot mimic. We don't have that length and that athleticism that they have. We don't have that guard play, that they have. They had 3 great guards out there on the court at the same time, and even one of them got hurt. So you have to look at their well-balanced team, well-coached, they're tough as nails, and offensive rebounds, they had 16. They had 26 points in the paint, 21 second chance points, and 22 points off turnovers. You can't give a team 20, 20, and 20 in those categories in addition to 21 points from behind the arc. That is a well-balanced team, and that's a dangerous team coming down this stretch. And I truly believe they have a chance to be national champions.
And Coach, over the entire season, you've talked about your team's core values, and that kind of shown quite a lot in this game alone. Even when you were down near the end of the second half, there was definitely not a lack of enthusiasm, probably highlighted by the fact that the bench was really cheering on Ben Sternberger when he came in. How encouraged are you that this team has still, even in the face of adversity, really kind of stayed together and stayed a cohesive unit?
I mean, I'm proud of these guys. The level of friendship, love, accountability, trust, discipline, unselfishness, enthusiasm, and toughness that they have is crucial, and it's been crucial to our success. And it's just not been crucial because those core values are on the wall. It's crucial because it's in their hearts. And these guys really wear that on their chest proudly. And sometimes as young people, you don't have direction, or you don't have full transparency to emotionally allow yourself to pour into a team or individuals without knowing you're going to get something back in return. These guys had a lot of faith, and they poured into each other without knowing what they were going to get in return. And I'm proud of them for that, because those are the things that will carry them beyond this fleeting moment of college. It's going to carry them as they become husbands, fathers, and obviously successful businessmen.
Okay, we'll go back to Rob Fenders from Cleveland.com.
Yeah, Coach, can you just sum up what these past 2 years at Cleveland State have been for you? I mean, I'm sure it was such an unknown for you to come, and for what you've been able to accomplish these past 2 years. Can you sum that up? And then also just kind of how you grew as a coach with the culture change that you changed.
Well, for me, I wasn't satisfied with last year. I thought last year we should have been in the NCAA tournament, regardless of when I started my tenure. And this season, we got here, but those dreams stretch far beyond just getting a bid. We want to win games in this tournament and get to a national championship. I think collectively our players have done a great job. Our staff has done a great job. As it relates to me, I'm a lifelong learner. I've always been that way. I was very critical of myself last year, and I'm sure I'll be very critical again this year when I have the time to watch every single game. I'll probably watch every single game the entire season in order, probably 3 or 4 times this entire offseason. And I'm saying that because, I have to look in the mirror and see how I can always improve, but also if I'm improving and the guys see that, our entire program improves. And, I'm always about evaluation, self-evaluation, self-awareness. So being a lifelong learner, I can't answer how I've grown this year, but ultimately I'll be able to evaluate and see what those things are.
Thank you very much, Coach, for your time today. Congratulations on your season. We
Thank
will be
you.
joined momentarily by Tori Patton.
Thanks, and go Vikes.
Okay, we're now joined by Tori Patton, and we would ask again that you please use the raise hand function to indicate that you would like to ask a question. When you are called upon for your question, please state your name and your affiliation. All right? So questions for Tori? Okay, we'll start with PJ Ziegler from Fox 8. PJ, go ahead. PJ, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Tori, thanks for the time. When you look back on this season, whether it be next year, 5 years, or 10 years, what will you remember most about it?
I think I just remember most how much of fun I had. I mean, I just said it earlier, like, this is the most fun I think I've ever had in my whole entire career in a season. you know, and just basically just the relationships I built here at Cleveland State. I feel like they would travel with me for my whole life.
And Coach talked just moments ago about Houston, and he feels like this should be a #1 seed. This team is capable of winning the national championship. Do you feel that after now playing against them and matching up against them?
I mean, we knew coming into the game they were a really good team, and we learned that going out tonight. They play really aggressive on defense and you know, real stingy on defense. So we know they have a good defense and a lot of great scores. So they definitely had a chance to, you know, win the whole thing.
Tori, thanks and congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from Rob Fenders with Cleveland.com. Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, Tori, you know, just how physical was it down there? I know you were banging with the bigs a couple times. It was getting pretty chippy. You know, just how physical was it, and how were they making it hard for you guys to not flow a good rhythm together?
I mean, it was really physical. They play really aggressive. That's something they pride themselves on is, you know, trying to be the tougher team. But, I mean, we tried to go out there tonight and be just as tough as them. So, I mean, it definitely was a high level of intensity.
And also, you know, just overall, what has this experience been like for you? Just, you know, it's your final year at Cleveland State. Just the experience of getting to experience March Madness.
I mean, it's been something I'll never forget. You know, with a lot of players and a lot of teams not, you know, ever having an opportunity to play in March Madness. So I definitely am grateful for the opportunity and something I definitely will never forget about.
Thanks, George.
Okay, again, if you have a question, please raise your hand. Rob, do you have an additional question?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Tori, I think we're all set. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on your season.
All right, thank you.
For everyone, that concludes this postgame news conference for Cleveland State. A transcript of Coach Gates' interview will be provided by ASAP Sports and posted